Hi guys, this is my new channel where I want to talk about things while I'm running in particular places. Nothing special, but I hope you enjoy it. And today we are talking about video games. Specifically about video games addiction. I personally consider myself an addict because I played for 2 years in multiplayer platforms. In 2022 I was spending 8 hours per day doom scrolling on Instagram and various, while in 2023 those hours became grinding on video games. I also drink alcohol on weekends and I smoke cigarettes regularly, so I can consider myself an addict, and I think I could talk about some addiction. But let's talk about this video games addiction. Now, for me, in this period, it seems better because I didn't play a single game for 2 months. And in this period of 60 days, I started making instrumentals again, playing guitar, working out, eating better, taking care of my hygiene, and cultivating relationship. I'm absolutely not arrived or realized. I'm just talking about my experience that is particular for me because basically I don't come from the world of video games. I never owned a console like PS2 or Xbox. I only played games on PC, mostly soccer games, RPG, FPS, and strategy games. Well, in 2022 I got my bachelor's degree in communication science, so we can call it the end of a TV season. A path has ended, so now it's all in play again. Everything is unknown, ready to be discovered. Now, I possess very little notions of psychology, but generally, when a person reaches a goal, there are two possible ways. The first is the good way, so a further period of growth that reinforces the previous pattern. Then, the second way is the bad way, the abandonment, the sense of emptiness. Your brain literally says, well, it's all over. Now what? And I obviously went in the second way. So, during my first year of my master's degree at the university, I had a decent social life. Nothing special, but I couldn't complain. I went out a lot, had a good circle of friends and girlfriends, and among colleges we were available for anything. So, simple but good life. When I started playing online on my new PC, things start to change. At first, everything seemed normal. I thought, now I have a degree. I can relax a little bit. I'm only 24 anyway. And actually, at first, it wasn't so bad. I would spend the morning at the faculty, and then I would immediately run to turn on the computer to get 3, 4, also 5 hours of gaming down. During that period, I was training 3 times a week. However, as time went on, I noticed that the hours I spent training decreased, while the time I spent playing online increased. I had also started going out less, even isolating myself for a couple of days in a row inside my rented room. I was getting a scholarship, so I didn't have to worry about money, and I had also side income like YouTuber or music and other odd jobs. However, by February 23, I could count 8 hours a day of gameplay. I had learned a lot about the strategies of the titles I was playing. I entered in competitive matches. I watched the best streamers to try to become the best. And I was lying to myself, basically. And that, I think, is the first problem in the multiplayer experience. You start from just having fun once in a while, but slowly everything is transformed. You start to develop a tolerance for the dopamine boost that the gaming experience gave you in the beginning. You focus more and more on performance on a virtual platform. You stop thinking about your personal growth. For example, during my second year of master, I had a total of 3,000 hours of gaming between my various accounts. I didn't leave the house anymore except to eat. Sometimes even hunger wouldn't get me out of my chair. I had lost 10 pounds, spent my whole days with the shuttered down playing video games and smoking weed. I was beginning to understand the real situation, but by then the roads in my brain were cemented. I had become addicted from real, and in a very intense way. Now, I don't want to make a video where I tell you about my growth. Everyone has their own path, right? However, I think I am not the only one in the world who has experienced these feelings about video games addiction. Let's talk about anger, frustration, helplessness, total lack of control in life, inability to relate to people. I had stopped calling my family, and I also thought I was depressed. And here we come to the second point. I decided to contact a psychologist for a short period. However, we never talk about this. At the time, I didn't think it was a problem. I thought, yes, I go out very little, spend a lot of time in front of the PC, but you know what? It makes me feel good. Out there, it all sucks. I don't like the outside world. Bam! Now this is my second point. Isolation versus communication. No matter what you are suffering from, being alone and shutting yourself off only makes things worse. Let's face it. We lie to ourselves more than it seems. Now, I'm not saying we are all fake, but when there's an emotion, a desire, a temptation involved, reason tends to get pushed aside. And that's what happens when we talk about craving. Craving or withdrawal is that process that makes us feel empty after quitting an addiction, a toxic routine, an unhealthy habit, for example. And it can be physical, as with cigarettes, but it can also be psychological, as with video games. Some days ago, I was reading about how video games can give higher dopamine boosts than cigarettes. To understand it, if a piece of chocolate makes you feel good in the moment to the tune of make 50 points, a video game can make you feel good from 70 to 300 points. If we want to make a comparison, peeping cocaine makes you feel good 150. We can see the effects immediately, but they are here. We can perceive them. Weight loss, for example, poor hygiene, losing relationships. These are all long-term effects of a video game's addiction. Because in the moment, your brain wants to feed on dopamine. And at the top of your iceberg mind, you think that this instant effect is good for you, but you know, that's huge bullshit. Do you get to level 2 in your game? You want to get level 3. Then you want to get level 4, and then the 5, and then you want to be the best player in the world. Now, this I think is also due to the dynamics of our ultra-competitive world, and my thought is why throw your desire to improve, already intoxicated by this world, into a platform that gives you nothing back? I mean, let's take a beatmaker. The more he trains on his program, the more knowledge he gains, the better chance he will have of success. His instrumentals will be better, the quality of sounds will be improved. He will begin a process of growth that is genuine, and that above all will bring benefits, personal and otherwise. Of course, you may think, but music is a special environment. Okay, so I want to take another example, like let's take the simple runner, like me. Okay? If today I do 20 minutes of running, tomorrow I can do 25, then I can do 30, and so on. But do you want to put the benefits that running gives you in the long run? For example, better breathing, you get sick less, you feel psychologically better because it vents negative emotion. I could spend hours talking about how exercise is good for human beings, because we are not born to be in a chair 10 hours a day. But you know what? I'm not a classic mental coach you find on podcast. I don't want to be. But I just want to say, evaluate the cost-benefit ratio. And that's true for any kind of activity and any kind of addiction. Here, now, take a paper, put down an idea, an activity you usually do, and evaluate the cost and benefits of this activity. I know this may sound materialistic, undreamy, and not at all spiritual, but this is also reality. Otherwise, we would all be singers, all rich, all streamers, and so on. Unfortunately, we don't all start out with the same opportunities. But we all own a brain, and everyone who is watching certainly owns a phone and a connection. So there are no excuses. If you have come this far, it means you already know what you have to do. But for some reason, you lack the will. And I understand that. I don't want to talk about discipline. We are not in the stoic period, as everyone has his own process, everyone also has his own problems, his own difficulties. So it will be different from all of us. But I bet each of you can put down on paper what you want and what you possess now. It's a matter of logical priorities. If I am hurting and I realize I am hurting now, even if I want to hide it, I ask for help, even to myself if there is no one there at first. Where I come from, they say, help yourself, then heaven helps you. But if you don't like this one, there is always the better known fortune favors the bold. Now, I cannot expect anyone who has a problem with video game addiction after this video to solve the problem overnight. It is unlikely. But recognizing it, being aware of it, is the first step, the easiest but the most important. Be aware in this day and in this age is a privilege, an important privilege. And I don't even want to talk about willpower because, as I said at the beginning of the video, I'm the first person who smokes who has had this addiction to video games, but I still want to talk to you about it. A little for me, talking about our problems helps to give them the right weight and so we can solve them with a smile, without so much drama. Secondly, tough, I really think someone can learn from my mistakes. Sharing is too important. And again, I think I have had a particular experience with video games addiction. As I told you, my life was fulfilling before all this. I can say that I have walked an opposite path to most creators who talk about this subject. These creators tell you about their experience as a climb from the bottom to success. My experience has been a descent from the top into the dark, from which I am slowly recovering. So, if you feel dissatisfied with your current life, where video games probably take up a good part of your days, consider quitting forever as a good way. Try to understand the problem at first. Try to be aware of it. Check the benefit cost of what you are doing now, and then put a stop to it. I make an example, running. Running seems so boring at first. Yeah, but in the long run, it can get better. It can make me a better version of myself. All the good you do, like the bad, comes back to you anyway. That's karma. And in this talk of doing good, there is also doing good for yourself. Doing good to yourself. Otherwise, it keeps burning the candle at both ends. I'm no one to be your teacher. These are your choices. I just hope this video has left you at least a point of reflection. I'm not trying to change the world. I'm just talking about how I see it based on my experience. Thanks for listening. Now here it's hot as hell. It's 40 degrees and it's 7 o'clock, so just imagine it. I hope you appreciated what I said and have a good evening. See you soon.